What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric and I am your guide on this adventure today. Today we are just going to take a quick look at this Mustang that is going to be featured on the channel in upcoming videos. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of the problems with it, internal and external, that I'm aware of, and give you an idea of some of the things that I'm going to be doing to it. Back to Ball Nation Adventures. Alright, so here we are at the front. Let me just start by giving you a little history of this car. This is a 94 Mustang V6 5-speed. We bought this car in a year, I think it was 2016 when we bought this car. It was the following year after we moved to Florida. We just needed a second set of wheels. There's 5 people. At the time, there were 6 people in the house, and we needed a second set of wheels to just to get around. So we found this car in the Tampa area. Figured we were going to have a second set of wheels. We live in Florida; it should be something fun. So we decided that we were going to. My wife likes to drive 5 speeds, and so we decided that we were going to get a fun car for our second set of wheels. Going to have a 5-speed, and we're in Florida. It might as well be a convertible. So actually my wife's dream car is a yellow Mustang with white interior and white top, with a 5-speed. So that was kind of the parameters when we started looking for this car. Couldn't find a yellow one. It's hard to find a yellow one with that color combination. In the price range especially that we were looking at. We found this red one over in the Tampa area and checked off a number of the boxes, not every one, not the primary one being red instead of yellow, but I think red is probably her second favorite color. So yeah, it looked good. So that was the kind of the reason for the purchase in the first place. So let me just give you a rundown of the history of this car, as far as the body damage goes, and the condition that it's in. So when we bought the car in Tampa, the guy had just had it resprayed at Mako. I think it just had one layer of paint and one layer of clear on it. As you can see from the hood, the paint is sunburned, the clear coat is sunburned off, and the paint's not far behind. So it obviously needs a paint job. But the front bumper cover is different, a different color, and so is the driver's side fender. And if you see that little spot there on the corner of the hood, you also notice that the headlights are not stock. Well, this car suffered from a little bit of child abuse a couple of years ago. My oldest son, who's in the Navy, you may have seen his current car on the channel. It's the black Buick that we changed the headlight on. That's his current car. He was driving this car to and from work and to and from school after he got his driver's license. And well, one day it got away from him on some wet roads, and he plowed a sign, and it busted the corner of the hood, curled the corner of this fender up, obviously decimated the headlight and turn signal, and it tore up the bumper cover as well. And so we found at a junkyard south of here, we found a red Mustang that still had decent hood and fender and bumper cover. The bumper cover is not the greatest, but it's in better shape than the one that came off of it. And so we went ahead and bought replacement parts. Obviously the hood is not on it. I've got the hood in the garage, but went ahead and put the different bumper cover on it, and the fender. The fender, it was the same color as the bumper cover. However, as any Florida car, the top of the fender, like the hood is showing here, it was worse. The top of the fender, the clear coat, and the paint were both gone, and it had surface rusted. And so to protect it and keep it from rusting anymore, I sanded the surface rust off, and I put red plastic dip from Lowe's on this fender just to try and protect it. It's just cheap plastic dip from Lowe's to try and make it red and protect it and keep it from rusting anymore, knowing that it was temporary and would be changed at some point in the future, and that is still the plan. When that day comes, I don't know. All right, so body wise, I mean, that's the whole car. It needs an entire paint job above the windshield. You see the clear coats burning off. Cheap Mako paint jobs don't last very long. It just squirted some paint and some clear on it just to sell it, make it look a little better. So the top, it needs a new top. It's down right now. I'll run that up here shortly and show you that. So let's talk about these wheels. They're an 18-inch wheels off of a 2008 Mustang GT. I bought these off a guy in Jacksonville Beach area a year or so ago with decent tires. I got them for $300, I believe, for the set, somewhere around there. I think they look pretty good on the car. The issue that I've got up here on the front, I've got a short lug stud there that I'm gonna have to replace. Other issues on the front, the ball joints on the passenger side The ball joint is bad. Still, I mean, it's our second car, so it does get driven, but I do have parts to try and resolve that. Not sure if you can tell or not. Let me set this camera down so it's steady. But the front tire is leaning in at the top. I don't know if you can see that, if that's coming through on camera or not, but the top is leaned in just a skosh, and yeah. So we've got new tubular A-arms to put on the front that have new ball joints on them. So we're going to do that, and they have poly bushings. So we're going to be replacing those. The other problem with the front, the power steering, it's got a power steering leak. I'm not sure if it's the rack that's leaking or if it's line or the pump, but something's leaking. So when I'm under there replacing the suspension, I will diagnose that and see if we can address that. Moving on to the back, you know, again, the paint is fading. The rear springs, I've got new suspension for the rear as well. I'm going to replace the springs on all four corners, and that will, they're lowering springs, so hopefully it will drop the ride height of the car down back to where it was with the factory stock wheels on it. The factory wheels were 15-inch. These are 18s, so it raised it up off the ground. Just, you know, the rocker panels are up maybe an inch or two higher than where they were with the stock wheels. So with the lowering springs, hopefully it'll come back down to where it was as factory. Additionally, in the back, I've got new control arms, upper and lower control arms for it with poly bushings. I'm going to replace all the bushings in the back with poly bushings, and hopefully that will fix this issue right here. As you saw, the window switch on that side doesn't work.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah, it works when it wants to.
Exactly. Pretty much like the rest of us.
Yeah. All right, so off we go. You might be able to catch the slight whine of the power steering. Like I said, there's power steering problems. So here you go. Can you hear that? You hear that scraping? That, as I mentioned, I've got new springs for it, front and rear, and I'm really hoping that the new springs will solve that problem. That's my the research that I've done online on various forums. There's not a whole lot out there as far as strange scraping noises from the underside of your Mustang, but from what I've been able to
look for bodies.
Yeah, what I've been able to uncover is the springs in the back are weak. It's either the springs or the bushings, the rear end bushings are weak in the back, and when the car's under load, which it could be acceleration load or it could be actual physical load, the springs in the back compress and cause the drive shaft to come up and scrape against the emergency brake cable bracket that's in the tunnel. It sticks out in the drive shaft tunnel, and that scraping sound that you hear is the drive shaft scraping against that bracket. So that is my belief. That is based on the research that I've done. It's either the springs or it's the bushings in the rear, upper, lower control arms, one of the two, or all of the above. So part of my suspension work, I'm replacing everything back there. I'm replacing the control arms, upper and lower, and I'm replacing all the bushings with poly bushings, and I'm replacing the springs. So if that doesn't fix the problem, then we are gonna light a fire in this car and just be done with it.
Don't say that online. Like insurance money.
Yeah. So, but it's a V6. It runs good. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but who cares? It's fun.
It's a convertible.
It's convertible in Florida. It's a fun car.
And you know what? It's got a good stereo.
Yeah, we had the stereo put in it. All right. So hopefully that it will fix that. Let's see what else. Interior-wise, we've got sunburn on the top of the back seat. Here, again, Florida sun. The interior is not in bad shape. It's mostly just dirty. We'll be cleaning it up when we get to the interior. The worst parts of the interior, obviously, the sun visors. I mean, sun visors don't stand a chance in a convertible in Florida. I mean, they just don't stand a chance. So that's not terribly surprising. The dash, the airbag on the passenger side in the dash, the white is starting to come off of the surface over the Mustang embossed there. So we'll have to get a new one of those or address that somehow. Really, that's it. I mean, you know, these Mustangs, the handle plastics, they wear out and go to crap, and the switches go bad. The switches on this side don't work or work when they want to, but they're still solidly mounted. I guess the lock and unlock, the unlock works. I guess it's the lock side that works, but the window switch doesn't. The switches on the driver's side, they all work, lock and unlock, and all four windows work, but the switch is held under there with duct tape. So so we'll be getting new plastic panels here for the doors, as well as new switches for both sides. Other than that, I mean, just generally being kind of dirty and worn out, the interior isn't terribly bad. So really, that's it as far as the Mustang goes. As far as the damage, the current plan, walked you through the suspension changes that I'm going to be making. I've got the parts. I'll do an unboxing when I'm ready to start working on this project. I'll do an unboxing and I'll show you the parts that I've got and talk a little bit more about those parts and where I got them, where you can get them if you're interested. And then I'll obviously be installing those, and I'll probably do it in a couple of videos when I get to that. I'll do the front and do the back. I'll do the front first because that's having the bad ball joint on the passenger side is destroying that tire. So we are going to need a couple of new tires when I get to that point, which will be relatively soon because I'm starting to see some bad wear on that tire. So it'll be sooner rather than later that this project gets started. Let me get you set up. I'll run the top up. I have replaced the top motor as well. That was something that I had to replace a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago now. I don't remember exactly. Anyway, here's the kind of some of the details on the top. I mean, when we bought it, the top was in okay shape. It was old and was approaching the end of its life, but it was still in good shape. It looked okay. All of this, it sits outside in the Florida sun. That's kind of a recurring theme, the Florida sun. But it's starting to, it's approaching the end of its life. It didn't have any of these holes in it when we bought it. So, you know, it's an old convertible top. It needs replaced. The back window's starting to peel away. You know, I mean, it needs replaced. It's starting to come apart up here. So yeah, so that's the top. So it needs a top. Hopefully this one will last a little bit longer. Needs new weather strip. We'll put new top on hopefully before long. It would be nice if I could get the top done about the same time as we paint it, because I would like to paint it while the top is off. But you know, as I said in my last video, I'm a cash operation. That applies to this as well. So, you know, it's not something that I'm going to put on a credit card or borrow money from the bank to do. So, you know, I'll explore maybe some DIY options for the paint. You know, I'll experiment a little bit, maybe with some rattle cans. See, on that hood, the hood that I haven't installed yet, I'll play around with it a little bit before I put it on, just to see what kind of results I can get from that, and kind of use that as a test case to decide if I'm gonna try and tackle this myself or pay somebody to paint it. That's a long ways off in the future though. The top as well, the top itself I could get on Amazon for around $300, but then, you know, installing it is kind of the next the next piece of that puzzle. I did check with a guy earlier in the winter, spring, about putting a top on it for us locally, and he quoted me about $1,300, but that was him installing it and buying the top and everything, himself. That wasn't using the $300 Amazon top. 1,300 bucks to do it, to have it professionally done. The paint job would probably be $4,000. I don't know exactly, honestly, but it it would be an expensive job. So what else? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's the Mustang, 94 V6 Mustang. So I appreciate you watching, and if you haven't already, go ahead and do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Leave me a like if you like the video, leave me a thumbs down if you don't, and leave me a comment. Either way, whether you like the video or not, and let me know what you didn't like about it, or what you did, what I can do different, how I can improve, or what other kind of videos you would like to see. Your interaction with me on the videos, whether it's a like, a subscribe, a comment, it helps the channel immensely, and I would like to grow the channel as much as possible, and I need your help to do that. So let me know how I can improve, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, bye for now.